I know that you've seen these really cute, adorable 1 in a Minion Valentines over on Pinterest. Here's how to make them with your SIzzix eclips2 machine and eclips2 software. So I made a whole batch of these with Matthew for his class. We made 30 Valentines. So for that, you're gonna need 30 Hostess Twinkies, 6 sheets of blue cardstock, 1 sheet of black cardstock, some Tombow foam tabs, Tombow adhesive dots, Tombow mono liquid glue, a SIzzix eclips2 machine with the software, laptop, and mats, about 50 googly eyes, and a Colorbox chalk ink pad in Blackbird. The full supply list is linked in the description so that you can get all the goodies that you need. So first you're going to open up your eclips2 software for the SIzzix eclips2 machine. And basically you're going to build the overalls from the different basic shapes that come in the machine. So here I'm using the rectangle and I'm stretching it out to make the part of the overalls that's going to wrap around the body of the Minion or around the Twinkie. Next, I'm using the same rectangle just in a smaller size to make the little overall straps. And so I'm going to resize those to make them just a little bit smaller so that they'll fit. Also, you want to use the grid that's on the mat to measure the length of your strip. So I cut a few of these and then I realized that they were too long, so I made them a little bit smaller. So I overlapped my little straps. I used my mouse and clicked and dragged to highlight everything. And then I clicked on path and union, and that merged everything all together. Then I could drag it, move it around, and duplicate it to cover the whole page in the shape. Now what I realized is that I didn't want this to be symmetrical, so I wanted one side to be a little bit shorter. So what I did is took another rectangle to kind of chop off this part of the little overalls, and I chose path and then back minus front. And so now it's shorter on one side so that when I wrap it around it can overlap and it's not too long. So once I did that, I used the duplicate function to create a column of 4, and then I just used Control C and Control V to create more copies to fill in the other side of my mat. So out of each piece of 12 by 12 paper, I got 6 of the overalls. So then once that was done, I went ahead and sent it over to the SIzzix eclips2 machine with the software, and you can see how fast it cuts out. It's super fast, and it cuts through all this textured cardstock like butter. So on this project I use a combination of American Crafts and Basil cardstock, and they all cut through super nice. I did use a cardstock setting H on the software, so before you go to cut, make sure that you choose your media type, and I chose cardstock H. Now once that's done cutting, you're going to go back into the software and click the unload mat button. So I decided I wanted to have some details on my overalls, and so I decided to create little notches for the pockets as well as a line for the seam between the 2 pant legs. So I just used this little arc shape that again comes in the basic shapes in the software, and I created 2 little pockets, and then I resized them using one of the overalls as a template so I could make sure everything was sized correctly. I also used a rectangle and then just dragged the little handles on the ends of the bounding box so that I could resize that to be a line so that could go between the 2 pant legs so it would look like pants. Next, I used a rounded triangle and a square and then resized each piece to make a pocket. Now once I had both of those sized the way that I wanted them and layered correctly, I went and chose from the menu. I highlighted both of them, and then from the menu I chose path and union to merge them into a pocket shape. Now sometimes it's easier to kind of get rid of the extra stuff, so I didn't need that overalls pattern there anymore once I had everything sized correctly. So I went ahead and hit path and then union, and then I saw that and I wanted to rotate it because it was hard to see, so I just went in and rotated it, and then I saw that my pocket was too big. So again, I could use the paddles on the edge of the bounding box to resize according to the size that it needs to be. So some of these pieces, like the little arcs and the line, those are going to be black and the pocket's going to be blue. So what I did is I created duplicates of all the black pieces so that I could cut them all out of one cardstock piece. And then I created duplicates of all of the blue pieces so I could cut those out of another cardstock piece. Now, once all your pieces are cut out, you're gonna need some foam tabs, a few adhesive dots, 1 or 2 googly eyes per minion, a Hostess Twinkie, and some ink. So that's what you're gonna need to put this all together. You'll also need some liquid glue to glue all those little detail pieces down and in place. So I used some Tombow aqua adhesive because I didn't want any of these pieces falling off or moving or going anywhere that I didn't intend them to be. And I also used a foam square to mount the pocket because I thought it would be cute to add a little bit of dimension. So the first thing you're going to do is use the ink to ink all the edges of your items to make them look a little bit distressed. So I used my Colorbox chalk cat's eye to ink all the pieces, and then I used one of those Tombow foam tabs to adhere the little pocket to the middle of my overalls and give it some dimension. Then I used this Tombow aqua glue to glue all these little tiny pieces. This is a great glue because it dries clear and it doesn't dry tacky. So it's great for little tiny pieces like this that you need to glue on. Next, I used a adhesive dot, and these are colored dots from Tombow, to wrap the little overall piece around my Twinkie to make the minion and to secure that in place. Then I used another adhesive dot to secure on the googly eye. If I was using 2 googly eyes, I would need 2 adhesive dots. And there it is, a fun, cute little Minion Valentine. Now you can add a tag to this that says you're one in the Minion if you want, and there's tons of free printables online that show that. So if you go to my blog, I have a bunch of links to all kinds of Minion printables that you can use. I hope you enjoyed this fun DIY project and that you make Valentines with your kids this year. Thanks so much. Please hit the subscribe button here at the end, and you can also follow my daily crafty antics over on Instagram. See you again soon.